Just imagine for a moment, if you were given two choices, a beautiful bungalow or $3 billion. Which one would you choose? Freedom or a shiny reputation? Have you ever felt like you've earned enough money? Or do you often wonder, how does someone even make $84.5 billion? If yes, then The Psychology of Money is the book that answers all those questions with truth, warmth, and simplicity. The greatest show on earth. The story begins with Morgan Housel during his college days when he worked as a valet at a luxury hotel in Los Angeles to make some money. One day, he noticed a regular guest, a young man just 20 years old, who had designed a key component for Wi-Fi routers and patented it in his name. He was a tech genius who had launched and sold several companies and become a millionaire at a very young age. But he lacked wisdom about money. He always carried stacks of cash, flaunted them, bragged while drinking. Once, he called a parking guard, handed him some bills, and said, "Go buy $1,000 worth of gold coins from that shop." When the coins arrived, what did he do? He and his friends threw them into the ocean, like skipping stones across water. A few days later, he accidentally broke a lamp in the hotel. The manager said, "That lamp costs $500. The millionaire pulled out his wallet, tossed $5,000 at the manager's face, and said, "Here, take this, and don't ever show me your face again." Sounds crazy, right? But it's a true story, and it ends with the same man going bankrupt within a few years. The millions he once had, gone. His friends, gone. Everything, gone. Money can buy almost anything, but not good behavior. Now listen to another story, that of Ronald Reed. Ronald was a janitor from a small town. He was the first in his family to finish high school. Every day he used to hitchhike to get to school. He lived a simple, humble life, worked 25 years at a gas station, then 20 years as a cleaner in a store, and at 38, he bought a two-room house for $12,000. He lived there for the rest of his life. His wife passed away when he was 50. He had no children. Neighbors said his favorite hobby was chopping wood. Then one day, in 2014, at the age of 92, Ronald passed away. And the newspapers ran a shocking headline: "Janitor dies with $8 million fortune." He donated $2 million to his stepchildren and $6 million to the local hospital and library. Even Wikipedia still lists him as janitor, gas station attendant, investor, philanthropist, and millionaire. You might wonder, how? No lottery, no inheritance. Just one simple habit: saving and investing. He invested in blue-chip stocks, let compounding work for decades, never even withdrew his interest. Over time, that interest grew and became $8 million. Now let's look at Ronald's opposite, Richard Fosconi. Richard was a top executive at Merrill Lynch, had an MBA from Harvard, and retired by the age of 40. He was on the 40 under 40 most successful people list. He owned an 18,000 square foot mansion in Connecticut, 2 swimming pools, 2 elevators, 7 garages, 11 bathrooms. The maintenance alone cost $90,000 a month, and yes, he had loans for it too. Then came the 2008 financial crisis. Overnight, his empire collapsed. That same year, he declared bankruptcy. What do these stories teach us? Financial success isn't a science. It's a soft skill. It's not your degree or intelligence, but your behavior that defines it. Finance is one of those rare fields where an ordinary person can outperform big businessmen if they know how to control their emotions and decisions. Anyone can become rich, but not everyone can stay humble. And that's the true psychology of money. Never enough. Book Blink. The Psychology of Money, Vanguard's founder John C. Bogle once told a powerful story. A billionaire was hosting a lavish party at his mansion. In one corner sat 2 famous authors, Kurt Vonnegut and Joseph Heller, the writer of the legendary novel Catch-22. Kurt smiled and said, "You know, the hedge fund manager who owns this house probably made more money in one single day than you did from your entire year's sales of Catch-22. Joseph calmly replied, "Yes, but I have something he will never have: enough." Just think about it. Whatever your income may be, can you truly say, "I have enough"? Do you ever feel, "That's it, this is enough for me"? The story of Rajat Gupta. Rajat Gupta was born into poverty in Kolkata. He was an orphan, yet by the age of 45, he had achieved what millions only dream of. He became the CEO of McKinsey & Company, one of the world's top consulting firms. When he retired in 2007, he held prestigious roles at the United Nations and the World Economic Forum, and sat on the boards of 5 major global companies. From a slum to a life of millions, he had done it all. By 2008, Rajat's net worth had reached $100 million. But he wasn't satisfied. Now he wanted to be a billionaire, to join that elite club. While serving on the board of Goldman Sachs during the 2008 financial crisis, he learned in a confidential meeting that Warren Buffett was about to invest $5 billion to rescue the company. Just 16 seconds after the meeting ended, Rajat made a phone call to hedge fund manager Raj Rajaratnam. Raj quickly bought 175,000 Goldman Sachs shares. Hours later, when the Buffett deal became public, the stock price skyrocketed, and Raj made $1 million in just a few hours. Later, it was revealed that Rajat himself had profited around $17 million. But this turned out to be the costliest mistake of his life, a textbook case of insider trading. Rajat Gupta was sentenced to prison. His reputation, career, and everything he had built were gone. Now the question is, a man who already had $100 million, global fame, and immense respect, what more did he really need? Lesson number 1, the hardest skill in life, knowing when to stop. We often think, just a little more, just a bit more. But that little more often leads to downfall. True financial intelligence lies in controlling your inner hunger. When ambition grows bigger than satisfaction, you start taking reckless risks. That's the trap of modern capitalism. It makes you both wealthy and greedy at the same time. The smartest people are those who know when to stop. Lesson number 2, social comparison, the most toxic trap. Comparing yourself to others is one of humanity's greatest weaknesses. Imagine a football player who earns $500,000 a year, a great income. But if he compares himself to Mike Trout, who signed a $430 million contract, he'll start feeling poor. A hedge fund manager making $36 million per year sounds huge, right? But when he compares himself to the top 10 hedge fund managers of 2018, who each made $340 million annually, suddenly he feels small. Then those top 10 compare themselves to the top 5, who earn $770 million per year. And even they feel behind. If those top 5 look up to Warren Buffett, who is $3.5 billion richer, and Buffett compares himself to Jeff Bezos, the race never ends. Think of it, it's a ladder with no last step. The moment you say, "I've made it," someone above you proves you haven't. If you join this race, the race to be richer than your friends, you'll never win. Because the only rule of this game is don't stop, and the only way to win is don't play. A Las Vegas dealer once said, "The only way to win at a casino is walk out the moment you walk in." The person who is happy with what they already have is the real winner. Not the one with the biggest house, but the one who can laugh in a small house and smile with a loving family. Lesson number 3, some things are worth more than money, fame, and power. After being released from prison, Rajat Gupta told the New York Times, "Don't get too attached to anything, not your reputation, not your achievements. I've learned not to cling to these things anymore." Maybe he was consoling himself, but the truth is, reputation is priceless, freedom is invaluable, love from family and friends is irreplaceable, and happiness is the greatest wealth of all. And there's only one way to keep them: know when to stop, understand what enough truly means, and tell yourself, "I don't need everything. I just need peace." Confounding compounding. Sometimes life teaches us lessons that go beyond one field and apply to another. And compounding is one of those magical ideas. Just like how snow slowly builds up until it blankets the entire earth, your money too grows quietly but powerfully over time. Did you know that Earth once went through an ice age? In fact, scientists in the 19th century proved that it didn't happen just once, but 5 times the entire planet was covered in ice. Imagine the massive energy it must have taken to freeze and then thaw an entire planet. But the real question was, why did it happen? Some scientists said it was due to mountain movements changing the climate. Others blamed volcanic eruptions altering the atmosphere. But those theories could only explain 1 or 2 ice ages, not all 5. Then came Milutin Milankovic, a Serbian scientist. He studied the positions of the sun, moon, and Earth and found that their gravitational pull slightly shifts Earth's tilt. When Earth tilts more than usual, some regions receive less sunlight, making summers too weak to melt all the snow. Later, Russian meteorologist Vladimir Kopin added that in such cold summers, the leftover snow never melts completely. When winter returns, new layers of snow pile on top of the old ones, year after year, layer after layer, until the whole planet is wrapped in white. That was the Ice Age. Now think about it. That's exactly how compounding works, adding a little every year and letting time multiply the results. Suppose you invest just 10% of your annual salary into an index fund, earning 10% annual interest. The interest from the first year adds to your capital for the next, and the cycle repeats. Over the years, that small contribution grows into a substantial fortune, just like those thin snow layers turning into a massive glacier. This quiet, steady power of compounding is what defines Warren Buffett's story. He started investing at just 10 years old and never withdrew his profits for spending. He let them grow, he let time do its work, and he stayed patient for 8 decades. Today, at 89, Buffett's net worth exceeds $84.5 billion. But here's what most people don't realize. Most of that wealth came after he turned 50. That's the magic of compounding. 8 equals 134,217,728. See the difference? That's compounding. Small steps creating enormous outcomes. Buffett never rushed. He didn't splurge in his 20s, and he kept investing even in his 60s. For 25 straight years, he kept saving, building, and letting time amplify his wealth. Today, his story stands as proof. Patience is the ultimate investment strategy. If a book were ever written about compounding, its title should probably be Shut Up and Wait. The difference between getting rich and staying rich: there are many ways to become rich, but only one way to stay rich. Let's understand this through the stories of 2 investors, Jesse Livermore and Abraham Germansky. Jesse Livermore was one of the smartest and sharpest stock traders of his time. Born in 1877, Jesse began trading when the world didn't even know that anyone could become a stock trader. By the age of 30, he had made $100 million, all on his own. Then came the year 1929 when the stock market crashed, triggering the Great Depression. Chaos was everywhere. Thousands of traders went bankrupt, and many even took their own lives. On the night of October 29, 1929, Jesse's family waited anxiously for him to return home. His wife, children, and mother-in-law all worried. When Jesse finally arrived, there was a strange calm on his face. He was in shock, but not because he was broke. It was because he had earned $3 billion that very day. When everyone else believed the market would rise, Jesse bet against it. "The market will crash," he said, and fate proved him right. Overnight, he became the king of Wall Street. But every story has another side. Meanwhile, Abraham Germansky, a wealthy real estate developer, made the opposite move. He believed the market would keep rising, and he staked everything on that belief. When the market collapsed, he lost everything. Just days later, Abraham took his own life. But the story doesn't end there. After the crash, Jesse Livermore grew even more confident. He began to think he could never lose. He started taking bigger and bigger risks. Then, in 1933, his luck ran out. He lost everything. And soon after, Jesse too ended his life, just like Abraham. Both became rich, but neither stayed rich. Here lies a deep truth. Making money is a skill, but keeping it is character. To make money, you must take risks, step out, and have faith. But to keep it, you need humility, patience, and fear awareness, because life can flip in an instant. One day you're at the top, the next you're at the bottom. That's why staying rich requires caution, modesty, and wisdom. The truth is, money earned through hard work lasts longer, but luck always plays a big role. Every win doesn't last forever. every success doesn't guarantee the next one. Now think of Warren Buffett, a man who has not only made wealth, but protected it for over 70 years. He let his investments compound for decades, never breaking his principles. Even at 89 years old, he holds over $84.5 billion in wealth. Why? Because he knew where to invest, which companies would last, and most importantly, when to do nothing. He's seen 14 recessions, yet never panicked and sold his stocks. He never risked his reputation, patience, or integrity. He didn't chase trends or fads. He never retired. He just kept compounding, and that's why he's still standing strong today. Conclusion. In this book, you've read many stories of the young man who threw thousands of gold coins into the sea, of Ronald Read, the janitor who donated $8 million, of Richard Foscone, who lost everything in the 2008 crisis, and of Rajat Gupta, who had $100 million but still wanted $1 billion more. You also read about Jesse Livermore and Abraham Germansky. One made $3 billion in a single day, the other lost it all. But in the end, both met the same fate. Now think, who would you rather be like? Because in this world, there are things more valuable than money, power, or fame, your reputation, freedom, family, love, and happiness. Remember, this world is round. Sometimes you win, sometimes you lose. Sometimes you have everything, sometimes nothing. There are thousands of ways to become rich, but only one way to stay rich. Stay humble, value your money, and be content with what you have. Because true wealth isn't in your bank balance. It's in spending joyful moments with your loved ones. Your family and real friends are your greatest treasure.